Good morning. I've I've been doing these videos and I wanted to talk about a lot of the purpose for these videos. Um so currently and I may have mentioned this in another video, going through a transition in my life, and this has been a very long period. However, the point of me choosing to share has many meanings to it. One being that at this particular time, I'm still learning a lot of lessons. And it's not one particular area of my life that I've been choosing to share, but it's just different areas. So there's no one particular reason. I share when I feel, how I feel, what I feel, and it sometimes is random. It is random. I've always been a journaler, but a lot of it is starting to spill out onto video. Now, I've also mentioned that I recently went through a long separation, divorce. I'm a single mother of two teenagers. One just graduated high school. The other started high school last year. And so, I've talked about certain different topics. However, I've also, decided to show a more spiritual side, just very intimate things for me. Now, for me, sharing is a little bit difficult because, and that's why I'm choosing to do it. I'm not going to say it is a fear, but I've certainly found out in my growth that I've hid a lot, and I've hid from myself as well, just not wanting to step into fully who I am, and definitely not wanting anyone else to get to really experience who I am. Not because I'm such a bad person or that I'm a good person, but I've always tried, I've guarded my heart in a sense, but when I love, I do love hard. And so this for me has also been healing. So as hard as it is, it's also been a blessing. So I'm also, it's a lot going on because I'm also, in the process of trying to move into, I need space. I've spoken on this as well. I have been able to, pay rent and stay with my aunt, my dad, and this has allowed me to be able to provide in ways that I wouldn't be able to provide, you know, for my children during a separation and ultimately a divorce. Now, you know, me disclosing that is because I am 45 as of this year, and just up and doing these videos, which I say during the transition, but you know, just life-changing things. You know, one may think, how did you end up having to transition at this age? Well, it happens often in life. We don't just get to one point in life and just stop, or we don't get to a certain place and we have arrived. You are always evolving. And partly at this point in my life, and just in the past couple of years, I had a lot to learn about myself. You know, apparently I got a lot of things right, you know, but I also got a lot of things wrong about me. You know, just being brought up, you know, just being taught that, you know, a lot of things are just private, which I do believe that. But I think that it starts young, and sometimes that can really stifle the way that you create, the way that you communicate who you are. It can pretty much hold you back, you know, and sometimes we do that not even knowing. Sometimes we could just put that, you know, weight on our kids, not knowing really. And just everything is a secret. So you don't know what to share, what not to share. And I don't know, it just kind of builds in you, you know, as you go along. Now, I don't believe that everything is for everybody, but I do believe that some things are for people. And how can we learn, you know, from one another if no one is sharing or being authentic about, you know, who they are? Now, in my life, I never really lived my life in a way where I had anything to hide. You know, I've always believed that, you know, if something happened, if I've done something, if I've made mistakes, this is all a part of my journey. So, you know, it's like, I ask myself sometimes now, you know, why were you hiding? And why were you hiding from yourself? You know, I have definitely, I would say I've walked a beautiful walk, you know, with God. And that's nothing for me to be ashamed of. It wasn't a perfect walk, but it was mine. However, you know, I just wanted to dive in a little bit deeper about why, or not just touching on certain aspects, you know, of my life, but yeah, I've been sharing a little bit more about every aspect in a way. And that's good for me. And you know, hopefully, you know, it's good for someone else as well. I will more than likely continue to, you know, share what I feel necessary. I sat here this morning and I was just open to whatever, you know, God would have me to do. Just open to whatever needs to be done. And it wasn't certain things that was on my mind in particular, but just me being willing. You know, I've always served God in some ways, even when, you know, it was difficult. Even when I was fighting, even when when I'm fighting now, you know, there is a purpose. I do believe there is a purpose for everything, whether the purpose is for your learning, whether the purpose is for you to teach. There's always a purpose. And if there is not a purpose, you can use it in a way to build, to create, to help somebody else. And so, yeah, this is new for me, but again, you know, my walk has been different. And I'm not going to say I move by impulse, because I do wait, you know, for confirmation. I do believe in doing that, because not everything that comes to your mind is the correct way to handle something. But some things that come to your mind, it is the right way. It's in your gut. But me, I will still wait for, you know, just confirmation. So I just wanted to dive a little bit deeper into things, and, you know, purpose, reason, responsibility, sharing. So these are the things that come to mind. Be blessed.